Hi, I'm Tiffany, and this is my first video. What we're going to discuss is dyslexia and dyscalculia, because they are a lot alike. They just deal with different subject matter. I have my screen right in front of me, and we're going to go over the differences of dyscalculia and the common things associated with it. And even I might give you a few tidbits on how I deal with it. So I say like deal with it because it is dealing with it. So come with me while we discuss this. Trying to make this as interesting and as not ADHD as possible. I tend to ramble sometimes, so just disclaimer. But people say that's why they like me, so I guess to each their own, I suppose. I'm fine with it. Anyways, let's talk about it. So I have my screen right in front of me that I'll be going over my notes because my mind tends to wander and then my vision isn't really all that great right now for reasons. So I have to use my technology here. So I'm Tiffany. I suffer from dyslexia and dyscalculia, both of them. I am on the spectrum recently, sort of diagnosed, not officially because I didn't take the test yet, but I have therapists, so. And then from the research that I've done, you know, I mean, I'm 46 years old. I've had a while to get to know it, so to say. So, what is dyslexia? Dyslexia is the specific learning disability that primarily affects reading and language related tasks. It can make it challenging for us to decode words and recognize spelling patterns and read fluently despite having the average or above average intelligence. For me personally, I have a problem with spelling, particularly the IE and the EI and when to use it and other things. As far as dyslexia, the words tend to shift on the paper for me like this. Like, so if I read one line, then I'll read the same line again because I thought that, you know, it's I don't know, it just moves around in my head. I can't explain it. But I also deal with ADHD, so some people say it's related, but others are kind of like, it doesn't matter whether they are related or not. I would say probably not because it all sort of holds hands, you know, the ADHD and then not having the concentration to actually well, I can fluently read, but when I'm put in a pressurized situation, when I have to learn something and then make sense of it, when I'm not particularly interested in it, that's usually when I have problems, because in order to really make sense of it, you kind of got to be interested in it, and then if you're not interested in it, then it's kind of like redundant in my brain. So like anyways, there's things that I do to get around dealing with dyslexia, such as, I'm getting my tablet here, such as whenever I'm reading, it's good to have, if you're reading and trying to make sense about it. Sorry, I know I'm rambling. So one way to get around the dyslexia issue when you're reading and if you're trying to make sense of it, and I like it when nobody's around because I don't feel like somebody's waiting on me. If you use your paper like that and then just go down the lines as you read, it sometimes helps a little bit. Now, when I'm in a rush or being pressured, it's difficult to retain things. I'm a learn at my pace kind of person, and I have to be interested in the content that I'm talking about. Otherwise, it's just words on the paper is all it is. So, yeah, so let's go to dyscalculia. What is it? Dyscalculia is a specific learning disability that primarily affects mathematical abilities. People with dyscalculia may struggle with basic number concepts, mathematical operations, and understanding mathematical symbols and concepts. Yes, symbols not so much because it kind of works together. Whenever you, like if you're talking about money, then you're gonna get a money symbol, or percentage is a percentage symbol. You know, that's kind of basic, but as far as mathematical operations, yes, when you start putting more functions together, like yeah, I'm getting algebraic right now, and I don't really, that's one of my non-strengths, but let's just say dyscalculia is a problem with math. And when you throw math and reading together in a word problem, it even complicates it even more, because then it's like, oh man, my head's spinning. I mean, which one do I do? Which one do I think of first, the reading or the math? There's ways to kind of get around it, but people that know us, that don't suffer with it, you should observe a certain amount of patience. Give us a calculator. Or have somebody else, calculate. So dyscalculia is math, and then dyslexia is reading. And they are a lot alike. In my brain, they are exactly alike. It's just, one's reading and one's math. There's things in math that I have problems with. Might be dyslexia, might not. I don't know what it would call, but let's just use an example of numerical values or signs. I'm trying to find a pen. So when you have, oh man, I just lost my place. So the number 7 and the number 9 and the number 4. I don't know if that's the right way or not, but you got 4, 7, and 9. You see the similarities there? Those all look alike in my brain whenever I'm being pressured. Okay, so now think of 3 and 8 and 0. 3, 8, and 0, rounded numbers. They are rounded, rounded. That they look alike to me. Number 1 is the best number because it's numero uno. Trust number 1. When number 1 is having a problem coping, just go back and be number 1 and just breathe and chill. Anyways, number 1 is the awesomest number for us introverts. I don't know if all of us dyslexic folks are introverts, but I know a lot of them, and they all are introverts. They're all also very artistic, and they use their dyslexia as a superpower, and yeah, as an advantage over, you know, it's kind of an advantage because we have different abilities than most. Anyways, we're very creative and have all had a problem with learning, and sorry my speech is kind of messed up today. Not been drinking or anything like that. So sometimes I just have problems with my speech. It's a long story. Anyways, so what are the common signs and symptoms of dyslexia? And sorry, yes, that artist that I was talking about, look him up, Stephen Fishwick. He is an awesome artist, and the dude he does a TED Talk. Look it up. Stephen Fishwick on dyslexia. Awesome talk. I suggest if you want to know more about dyslexia, or you know people who suffer from dyslexia, watch him talk about dyslexia, and he'll give his take on things. I've met him in real life, and he's a dude. Man, the guy's talented. Super down to earth too, and really good at what he does. So check it out. I was actually wearing a shirt the other day that he made. It was Einstein. It's all relative, mind over matter, basically. And yeah. Anyways, it's a cool shirt, and it's really good quality. If I still have the link, I'll post it in the description. But check out Stephen Fishwick. So, what are the common signs and symptoms of dyslexia? Common signs of dyslexia include difficulties with reading, spelling, and writing. People with dyslexia may also have trouble with phonological awareness, which is the ability to identify and manipulate sounds and words. Other signs may include slow reading, difficulty with word recognition, and challenges with comprehension. So yes, that is what it is. Phonological is phono meaning sound, and then logical meaning sense. Having problems making sense of sounds, of the words. And I did, when I was growing up, I had trouble with reading and comprehension, and eventually took some classes in college after high school, and really got to liking grammar for some reasons. And now I like writing. It's crazy how, like, I really don't like reading because of what the words do on the paper. But I like writing. I think it's because I get to take my stories out of my head and the things that happen in my head, and then make it into creative. And then those who read can probably make a movie out of my thoughts. I haven't really put it on paper yet. It's actually been being written on paper, but I don't know where I put the tablet. So it's a work in progress. Anyways, I started liking grammar. Dyslexia is kind of, it's troubling, especially when you deal with the ADHD and dyslexia. They both hold hands, and sometimes they don't get along. It's kind of love-hate relationship, actually, when you really think about it. But the words, they shift for me, and then sometimes they just stand still, and I read the same line many times. And if I am under pressure, there's a good chance that a anxiety attack will take place. If I'm not really into the topic of what I'm reading about, then I'll start thinking about it too much, and then anxiety attack happens, and probably even a massive meltdown if it gets bad enough. It's not all the time. I don't have meltdowns every time I read. I had a friend that said, well, I thought you had problems reading. I said, well, I do have problems reading, but this little small few words on a paper isn't going to get me confused. It's when you give me like pages to read and then tell me right after that, okay, now tell me about it. Two totally different things. You know, there's some folks, I guess, that never learn how to read because it's so bad for them. I've met a few that look for any excuse they can have not to write something down because they can't write and they can't read. And they're very smart, but they just can't write and they can't read. And then their writing is really messy, like really messy. So, you know, dude had it real bad, man. And it's almost like autism spectrum disorder, where everything is a spectrum. And dyslexia and dyscalculia have variations of difficulty. And there's variations of difficulty because it's not always the same thing for everybody. But it does cause a problem, though. It's not just, I'm just a little dyslexic. There's no such thing as a little dyslexic. You might get backward just a little bit, but dude, if you seriously deal with being dyslexic, there is no little, because where it gets the name from is when it starts to be a problem. That's why they have the name for it. If you're just a little backwards, that's a little bit different. Maybe you might be dyslexic, but there is no little bit. You're either this or that, you know, like boy or girl, or fat or skinny, or short or tall, or on the spectrum or normal. It's, you know, it's not black and white. It's a spectrum of like monochrome. No, it's actually a spectrum of, you know, just different variations. But when someone dismisses it and says, I'm just a little bit. When they dismiss it, that's what I'm talking about, is when they dismiss it as just being a little bit. It's not a problem. You'll be fine. You know, that's what I'm getting from that, is you'll be okay. No, just get past your difficulties, and I just can't stand it when people do that. So when they're a little bit dyslexia, I usually say, well, are you, or are you just saying that? Sometimes they actually answer an honest answer, but sometimes they say, no, I just get things backwards a lot. Well, is it like a serious problem? Because for me it is, and it's not just a little problem. It's something that I actually have to work around. So those of you guys and girls that are dyslexic out there, don't ridicule yourself to death. It's not your fault. Just slow down a little bit and take a break, look around the room, and then come back to it. You know, just don't stress about it. I know that's easier said than done. I've had my fair share of stress attacks dealing with dyslexia. Just if it's a topic that gets you stressed out and that you know that you're not interested in, just do yourself a favor and don't dig into it unless you really want to. And if you really want to, do it at your leisure. Don't force yourself to learn it, because it's just going to create pain. And you don't want that, not while you're learning something. Learn it at your leisure, and definitely don't put yourself under a lot of pressure. Just take a deep breath, and and it feels good in your head when you do that too. So just take a breath, and I mean that in the most endearing way possible, because I've been through a fair share of anxiety attacks when it comes to dyslexia. It's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing. And it should have more attention, to be honest. So, what are the common signs and symptoms of dyscalculia? So, what the Google machine says is the common signs of dyscalculia include difficulties with basic arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, understanding mathematical concepts, and recognizing numerical symbols. I feel like I just said this. Individuals with dyscalculia may struggle with the tasks of telling time, counting money, and understanding mathematical word problems. So, with me, when I have word problems, I really don't like word problems. Word problems confuse the crap out of me, because you're putting dyslexia with dyscalculia to dance together in the same room, and that's like a love-hate relationship. That's like a bad couple. That's like a toxic couple just had a fight and they're forced to go to a dinner party. Yeah. That's what word problems are like. Telling time, not so much. Sometimes if I look at the clock wrong, I have to like really look at the clock and oh, okay, yeah, it is 12:30. I had to make sure the long hand was where the short hand is. Yeah, it's okay. I don't have problems with that so much anymore. Maybe on digital, when I look at it, it might look funny. Counting money, not so much, but being responsible with money, yes. I'm not that good at it. And I'm actually going through some things right now, and trying not to be overwhelmed by it. Truck is getting ready to be fixed in the shop, and that's going to be probably a lot. And hopefully it's under $1,000. I so hope like a couple hundred, but I'm thinking it's probably like either the main seal or the bearing seal, or the oil pump, because it's leaking now. So yeah, and then I've been on sick leave and trying to get my mind wrapped around the whole situation, trying to find a source of income, learning some stuff. It hasn't taken off yet, but I'm optimistic. So then I started noticing there's a lot of people out there on YouTube talking about things that are near and dear to them. So that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to come on the YouTube and or Rumble, whichever one y'all see me on, because I'm on Rumble too. I'm trying to build my channel, so if you could, please give me a like and subscribe. Just, get me monetized, please, because I'm really trying hard to get through this. And dyslexia and dyscalculia have been one of my major hurdles in the last several months, trying to find a job, and then the whole, other stuff in my life with the whole autoimmune situation. It wasn't a choice to just stop work. It was related to my health, and it's getting to be pretty, hopefully everything will be okay, and I don't get forced to sell stuff, like my house and my everything that, I've worked so hard to get. So anyways, I figured I'd come on here and advocate for those who suffer with dyslexia and dyscalculia, and hopefully be of some sort of help to you in trying to understand the situation, dealing with things. And just a little, side note is I'll have some links in the description that may be of benefit to those who suffer with this, and hopefully it'll help you out. These are things that I wasn't really, we didn't have these things when I was little. I'm 46 years old. I'm born in 1976. So when I was little, they didn't really do much diagnosing or anything like that when it came to learning disabilities. We just struggled with it and just try to make it as good as we can and become someone, an upstanding citizen. So, I'm just here to really try and bring some help and maybe some understanding to those who struggle with it, or if you know someone who does struggle with it. If you know someone who does struggle with it, don't get fussy with them. They can't help it. They can't help it. Just you go with them and help them learn, and maybe if you're there trying to teach them how to read, show them what the different phonological things are about words, or give them a calculator if they have a problem with math, and show them the order of operations in math, which is something that I could never figure out because of the whole dyslexic problem and falling asleep in my math class. So yeah, I would always draw in math class too. It just, math was always hard for me. So I kind of just pretended, fake it. I can do simple, look at this one here. Sorry, my finger in the way. Look at her. She's trying to get me to let her go outside. So yeah, if you know somebody who struggles with it, don't pressure them. If anything, ask them, do they struggle with it? I'll be a little bit lighter on you and not not pressure you so much. And then those that do struggle with it, those people that do struggle with it, don't pressure yourself so much that you get yourself sick. If anything, research it and find other ways to get around it. I suggested the whole use a piece of paper to read with words, with math. You just use a calculator and try not to get into anything deeper than what you can tolerate. If you know someone who does math well, maybe have them explain it a little bit more to you. It's not, to me, it's not easy, especially when the numbers, I was going to say letters, especially when the numbers like flip upside down and stuff, and then it's just bite-sized pieces. That's what I was going to say. Bite-sized pieces. Every time you deal with numbers and letters and stuff that you don't understand, bite-sized pieces. What I do in numbers is I'll break it down to like 4 digits at a time, or 2 digits at a time, when I'm trying to, remember things, or even when I'm reading numbers, I'll break it down to 4 digits at a time, instead of trying to say the whole dang number. Whenever I say the whole dang number, though, I sometimes confuse myself. I'll say, let's talk about 1,600,000 and, yeah. See what I just did? I'm trying to say 1,630,563. Instead, I said 1,560,000. That's what I usually do, and don't feel bad when you do that. It's just, don't worry. I mean, just break it down, and then I'll maybe say, instead of that, say, round it up, say 1.6 million, or something like that. Sometimes I'll write it down and say this many, but don't be too hard on yourself. You can't help it. You just gotta find ways that your brain can understand it. I've heard that some people have had luck with putting a certain color transparency over the writing. I've never tried that. Well, I have tried that. I just didn't really find it to be any different, other than being prettier. So there's ways to get around it, and I'll put some good resources down in the description for you to go and check out. And definitely, if you know someone who deals with it, share this. That's why I'm here doing this for you, is because I hope that you can have a good takeaway from it, and then maybe, share it or understand it more. Okay, now I'm down to how. Okay, so now I'm down to how are dyslexia and dyscalculia diagnosed and treated. My pup is feeling anxious. This is Stella. Stella, you need to be good, girl. She wants to go and chase dragonflies. She's been looking out the window, watching the dragonflies, and she wants to chase them. You'll get to chase the dragonflies in a little bit. There's a few videos of her on TikTok chasing dragonflies. If you want to see her chasing dragonflies, and that's all you want to see is Stella chasing dragonflies, I can make a video just of that and let you watch her chase dragonflies. Let me know in the comments. So, how are dyslexia and dyscalculia diagnosed and treated? Is the question that a lot of people ask. Well, diagnosis of dyslexia and dyscalculia typically involve a comprehensive assessment by a qualified professional, such as a psychologist or educational specialist. The evaluation may include cognitive and academic assessments. Treatment and support for these conditions often involve specialized educational interventions, including tutoring. I was going to say tutoring. Almost did it again. Including tutoring, assistive technology, and strategies tailored to the individual's specific needs. Early intervention is crucial in helping individuals with dyslexia and dyscalculia develop essential skills and strategies to overcome their challenges. Yes, this is correct. See, she's looking at the dragonflies again. This is correct. Special attention in helping us learn is always good. instead of putting us into the corner and letting us deal with it ourselves. Tutoring is always a really good thing to have, especially a tutor that understands what we deal with. As far as early intervention, I think that is crucial, especially if the kid is having some problems. Earlier the better. The earlier you can teach them to learn past these challenges, the easier it'll be on them, less stressful it'll be on them, and just they'll lead a little bit of a happier life, knowing how to get past these things, knowing how to get around them even. They might not even fully get over them, because there is no getting over it. There's just getting along with it. So even if they learn to live with it, that's better than not knowing. No, I'll say, yeah. I mean, I wish there were things to have taught me out of that when I was younger, but in that day they did not do that kind of thing. In that day, if you didn't know how to read and write, you were stupid. And that's not the case. You're not stupid if you don't know how to read or write. You just need to take your time a little bit better. Maybe find your strengths. Find something that you can do, and then find ways that it will work with you. I know some people that are horrible spellers, but you know what? It's kind of cool though, is they'll spell it the way it sounds in their head. You can still read it, even though you gotta kind of work at it a little bit. I've not done that. I try and get my spelling as close to correct as possible, because I mask a lot, and that's one of the things is I try not to let it be a problem, but there's no such thing as, you just gotta work around it. You just gotta learn to get along with it. There's no getting over with it. There's no getting over it. It's just living with it and just finding the easiest way possible. And then that's what's cool about these days, is they have so many tools that help someone, like us, get past the dyslexia or the dyscalculia. But it is a challenge still, even with devices. And let me see here, where are we? The last question on my list before I go, or I might break into a conclusion, was, what is the importance of diagnosis for dyslexia and dyscalculia? The answer is, diagnosing dyslexia and dyscalculia is of paramount importance for several reasons. First, it helps individuals and their families understand the underlying cause of their struggles in reading or math. This understanding can alleviate feelings of frustration and inadequacy. Second, a formal diagnosis allows for tailored interventions and support. It enables educators and specialists to develop and implement individualized strategies and accommodations to help individuals with dyslexia and dyscalculia succeed academically. That was a long sentence. Additionally, a diagnosis can open doors to assessing specific resources and accommodations in educational settings, which can level the playing field for these individuals. Early diagnosis is especially crucial. I know I said that wrong. Early diagnosis is especially crucial as it follows for timely intervention and support, which can significantly improve the outcomes for individuals with dyslexia and dyscalculia. with that being said, definitely if you are in the position to get diagnosed, get diagnosed. Don't wait till you get older. But if you're older and wanting to diagnose it, it's going to be hard because there's so many psychologists out there who only concentrate on children and old people. So that puts us, like middle-aged peoples, like at a disadvantage because nobody wants to see us. You know, I mean, we ate Gerber food back then too. So what's the deal, man? I mean, it's only the young ones. We had lead paint chips too. But anyways, yeah, if you're in a position to get diagnosed, get diagnosed. If you have kids that are struggling with their reading and math, get them diagnosed. Send them to there are special doctors out there. She must see a dragonfly. There are special doctors out there that you can take your kiddo to, who will test them and assess them formally, so that way you can get the attention for your kiddo, and not let it go in the shade like mine was, and then get to old age and say, damn, it's hard to find a job when you're dyslexic and got dyscalculia. Everybody needs that. Oh, but then they put it on the job applications too. Are you disabled? But then if you are disabled, do they even pay attention to it? So, like, having a formal diagnosis in a situation like this can actually save your job and stuff. I don't have a formal dyslexia or dyscalculia diagnosis. Not a formal one, but I know I struggle with it, and I'm actually hoping they put it on paper this next year, so that way I can use it to my advantage and say I can go ahead and stand up for myself and say I have this condition, because but then you kind of gotta wonder, because like if you do have the a disability of any sort, then they're like, oh no, don't talk about that, don't talk about, no, you can't talk about that because HIPAA, you can't say it. So yeah, they do that, man, in certain positions. So when you're trying to get a job and stuff, and have to enter that disability claim, that you are disabled, it might be on the spectrum, or might have this or that, and or multiple of the above. They don't recognize it, even though they pretend to recognize it. They don't recognize it. They just make it harder. And that has been huge with trying to find a job, because in certain cases they're not even honest on what they're trying to recruit you for anymore either, because they'll say customer service, but then they won't tell you it's in banking or credit cards. But that little detail right there would have saved me so much frustration, sickness, throw up, sweat. Yeah, that little detail, little tiny detail that some might think is little tiny, that little detail might have saved me a whole lot of time and stress and health and everything. So, yeah. businesses, when you're hiring for customer service, you might want to include a transparent description of the job, because keeping us in the dark is just gonna make you pay for our training, and then it's gonna make you lose employees if you're not honest with us on what the job consists of. At least say credit card or banking, but then we say customer satisfaction, and then ends up being credit card, and you get a dyslexic person on the board. Then you want to hold it against us because we can't understand what the heck is going on. When if you would have been honest in the first place, none of us would have ever been in this position to start with. Right? So, sorry. Yeah. So a diagnosis can actually help a lot when dealing with HR situations too. While it probably won't keep the stress away, it'll protect you. Having your sorry, I just noticed this is broken. Having your diagnosis in hand would really save yourself a lot of frustration if your HR department comes down on you and tries to say that you have emotional problems. It's like, no, I'm just dyslexic, and you're throwing it in my face because you can. And then they say, oh, well, you need some time off? Yeah, ask me how I know. Anyways, having a formal diagnosis would be good. I would strongly suggest to parents anyways, if your kiddo struggles with reading and arithmetic, to go get them checked out for dyslexia and dyscalculia. And if you're an adult that struggles with this, like and subscribe, man, because guess what? We can be proud. We can be pals. I might even throw together a Facebook page if you guys seem interested. So in the comments, let me know if you're interested, and if you want me to throw together a group. I would totally do that. I just need to know that there are people who are interested in this first before I invest my time into it, because a lot of time goes into this, and I do it because I care, and because I want to make some recognition on it, and I would actually like to grow my YouTube channel, and I figured this is a really kind of good topic because I'm real experienced in dealing with it, and it might be a good way for others like me to feel less alone. It might maybe feel like they have somebody on this end of the internet, that they have a friend that is like they are. So yeah, but trollers, can you not say mean things, because that's just not right. And yeah, but everybody out there that can relate, then totally give me a like and subscribe, and I'll try and remember to do one of these per week. Maybe different topics, like not all dyslexia, maybe other spectrum type things that I've dealt with all my life. Shyness, personal relationship type stuff, dealing with different triggers. It really helped me seeing others on YouTube that dealt with similar stuff that I did, and they're actually coaches for us now, and those of it, hopefully you guys will get to see this and kind of feel happy that I'm kind of trying to walk in your shoes. I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone who has dealt with this all my life, and I'm just giving suggestions and you know, how to get around this and just help you feel less alone. So yeah, with that being said, I really appreciate you stopping by and watching my video about dyslexia and dyscalculia. And I really hope that you come to visit again, like and subscribe, check out the stuff in the description, and I'll see you next time. And thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you again. Bye! I think now it's time for Stella to go and chase dragonflies. She left. I don't know where she is. Uh-oh, there's Teddy. She's stuck in the sheet. There's a hole in the sheet and her head stuck right through it. There she is. Hey, Stella, you wanna go chase dragonflies? Where? Look. Where's it? Look. Okay. Alright. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.